This is Mitch, and welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I have Bob Lachance on the line right now, and we're going to be talking about virtual assistants, VAs, and how and when you should consider them helping you. I want to mention that this episode is brought to you by taxfreefuture.com. If you're the 5, 4, 3. This episode is brought to you by taxfreefuture.com. You won't believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. If you do not have a tax-deferred or a tax-free environment which to grow your retirement, then you're missing one of the biggest assets you could possibly buy. So please check out taxfreefuture.com. There's 37 videos on there, and the most interesting things to me is it takes case studies and shows you how you take little bitty tiny amounts of money and you grow it into really big amounts of money in a short period of time. That's what I'm talking about. Taxfreefuture.com. All right, Bob, we got all that, got the bills paid over here now. Tell us a little bit about your background. You have a huge background. I was reading it, so I was hoping like you could pick out the high points, because I was reading your background and you've been around for a long time, probably like, I don't know, since 2004. You helped a lot of the famous gurus that we know get along their path to where they are now, as far as, I don't know, sales and seminars and stuff. Very interesting world. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, as you can tell by the gray beard I have, I am not 27 anymore, but it's pretty interesting. I played professional hockey for 8 years, and after that, after I retired, I got into the investing world. And I met my first mentor back in 2004, which I was lucky to get into. My first deal was a flip, which is a rehab deal. Then I got in the short sale world, which is pretty interesting. So short sale world is one of the most interesting worlds you want to be in, because you learn a lot about everything. That's one of the cool things about that. And within that time, I've done over 700 short sale transactions. Like you said, I've helped develop some coaching programs along the way. And during that time, I've actually found, with my investing career and all the different students that I've worked with through the years, that time was a huge, huge issue within all of our businesses, right? Many investors, as you know, work either part-time or full-time and have the dream of getting into real estate full-time, which means they need someone to help them with tasks. So back in 2013, I got introduced to the world of virtual assistants. It was very, very, it was one of the things in the real estate agent world that was common, but not in the investor world. So the light bulb went on in 2014 that there could be a business there, an industry there. So I tested it for about a year with a separate company that I did not own, to make sure the proof of concept worked. I helped them develop a training company. This was out of the Philippines. They handled all the recruiting. I helped create the training program, a month training program for virtual assistants, so they would be very, very equipped with working with real estate investors in the tasks that they needed. So I tested that for a year, tested for a year, tested for another year, and then the proof of concept worked. So I went out and now we are 4 or 5 years later.
All right. So for those of all that are just listening on the audio podcast there, and you don't have the visual here on video. Bob does have all of his teeth, it seems like. He has all of his teeth. They look pretty good.
This one's fake, though. The front one is fake.
Oh, so he's had a little work done, okay? He's had a little work done. But tough sport, really tough sport. So I like it when athletes, I get to talk to athletes, because they seem to have an inherent stickiness. They don't go away easy, and they get back up, and they usually get back up pretty fast. This business world is not without its lessons, and its hard lessons. So I'm not surprised when athletes really shine in the entrepreneurial thing. So you've got this, man, this subject's huge for me. I have 6 virtual assistants myself. They're all from the Philippines. They do a tremendous amount of work for me, stuff that I'm not going to do. And this is one thing I tell everybody, as the entrepreneur, the owner of the business, you can say that you're going to do these tasks every week, and that'll last as an AED entrepreneurial high-strung AAA, you're going to do it for maybe 10 days, maybe 10 days. And some of these things are really critical, because I find that what really, people say, what's the key to the success? I say massive action, massive consistency. There's little things that have to get done every single day or week or month. And when you miss them, it screws up your pipeline,
Right.
And the pipeline business, every business I suppose is, I don't know, but so why the Philippines though? I noticed, there's India, there's China, there's Russia. You could get VAs from anywhere. Why did you pick the Philippines?
See, I've tested a lot of different areas, and I found that the Philippines, the English proficiency is excellent. And it's only getting better and better and better. I go there 2-3 times a year and meet with my team. And the proficiency of the individuals, the younger that they get, they're all college educated who come through my program and actually work for me and work for our clients and customers. Is they all go through college. They all have college degrees, and English is one of their main languages. So I think it's that's what separates them, in my opinion, from everybody else, from India to Russia, et cetera, because the accent's phenomenal.
Well, and that's really, really, really important in some cases. In other cases, it's not so important, right? Do you get a little bit of a discount if they don't speak English that well?
Yeah, it's funny. Actually, we break it down. It depends what tasks. I know we'll probably talk about tasks later on, but you have individuals that if you only want admin work done, like social media, right? You don't need someone talking on the phone. They could be, way better at admin work rather than accents. But what I'm finding is the individuals that come through our pipeline and how we recruit over there, the accents have been getting better and better and better.
Yeah, we actually have this poem. I think it's called English is Hard or something. And we actually make them try to read the poem. I can hardly read the poem, and we make a video. But, you do all that stuff for the person. And I think for a person who's, doesn't have the time to train or doesn't want to make the time to train, your business is an excellent business. And let's talk about those tasks. Now, we're going to be giving away a list of the 100 things that VAs can do. Is that what it is? What's it called? What's the name of the list?
Yeah, 100 plus tasks that virtual assistants can do. And we break it down, whether they're wholesalers, rehabbers, buy and hold, or agents. It's a checklist that you can use, because one of the main reasons why we do that is, when someone asks me, they say, what, I'm really, really busy. I know I need help. What could a VA do for me? Right. So we send them through that process. So I give them a quick checklist. So when they meet with our team, we walk through that. It's almost like a consultation on how a VA can best use, how they could be best used in their business.
So I want everyone to go to REInvestorSummit.com/VA help. That's V as in virtual, A as in assistant, help, HELP. So REInvestorSummit.com/VA help, and get you 100 plus things a VA can do. It's a free list. And I got to tell you, it's hard to think sometimes. You think, I want a VA, and then you think about getting one, and you think, well, what am I going to have them do? And it's amazing. You have all this stuff they can do, and you get stymied. So this is going to be a great list, and especially if you break it down by different strategies. I think that's interesting. If you're a wholesale flipper or a rehabber or whatever, that's interesting to see what the differences would be in the task. But let's just pick some of the top tasks, the easy ones. What do you got for them?
So it all depends, like I always say, it all depends on, I always break it down to what is your biggest pain point in your business, right? If you're a rehab, if you're a wholesaler, if you're a buy and hold specialist, if you own a property management company, Airbnb, whatever it is, we all have pain points in our business. And I'll tell you a little bit about some pain points in my business. And I think, I don't know what quote it is, but I wrote it down before getting on. I think it was episode 275 of your episode. And it was, I could be wrong on the number of the episode. However, one of the quotes you said, the best service providers out there are the ones that actually do the business and use their own service. I can't remember which one you said it on, but
right.
You remember that one?
Yeah. I mean, makes perfect sense, right? Like, why would like, I have private investors that loan me money to buy my houses. One of the first things I point out to them is I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in this exact thing that I'm asking you to put it in. So you're not.
Right.
I'm using it. I'm in it. I'm in it up to here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe in it.
So I'll give you, so the anchor back to your question of, the top tasks. So out of my office, in the majority of the clients that come through us, we look at two different types of virtual assistants. One are individuals who actually are better on the phone. So you break up into phone virtual assistants and admin virtual assistants. So the top ones are, especially out of my office, are the VAs that actually run outbound dialing to gauge seller motivation. That's a huge one. Another one.
Can I chime in there? That's what I use. That's what I've got. We have a phone room going out to the, tax delinquents and all the other lists that we find in the courthouse. And we have them to just find out, A, is this number connecting to anybody relevant to what I'm trying to get done? B, will they answer the phone? C, are they the guy that I'm looking for, the owner? And D, do they want to talk? And if all those happen, they're getting turned over right now to my closer. So even if they're not a sharp negotiator, I'm using them to call out these hundreds of phone numbers that don't meet the standard,
Yep.
And they're calling about 200 a day.
Yep.
We have 4 of them, so we're talking to 800. We're going through 800 people strategically. And the new trend, which I'm sure you're very well aware of, is we don't mail postcards to these people anymore. We just call them. It's
right.
when you look at the cost of a VA compared to the cost of a mailing and the different level of effectiveness, one's very personal, one's very impersonal. It makes perfect sense. And then we start mailing postcards to the ones that have acknowledged they want to talk. We use that as our additional touches. I think that was a not so obvious shift in the business, but it's been a definite shift. Have you noticed that?
Oh, absolutely. And to add to that too, there's a great follow-up to add to exactly what you did. I mean, the reason why I started doing that when I first started business, I door knocked for about a year straight. So I went from 9 a.m. or was it 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every single day. When I would get home, I would see some vacant houses. I would get those skip traced. I would run comps and I would outbound dial. Now, after you do that for a while, you just want to, you're dead. You're dead tired, right? And that's one of the things that you're doing well. You're the business owner and you're not hammering the phones that just drains you, right? You have a virtual assistant do that for you.
So just so you may not be that familiar with my organization, and I wouldn't expect you to be, but I bought 97 houses last year. I average about 100 houses a year for 22 years running. I've bought right at 2,000 houses since 1996 in my hometown or surrounding counties, somewhere close. And now that's neither here nor there. I'm sure right down the street is someone who could, wallpaper their house with the amount of contracts I've done. But the point is that's still a lot of houses. And how that happens is I have like 4 or 5 acquisition streams, depending on if anyone's left yet or not, because not everybody stays for the longest amount of time.
Right.
It takes a while to find the guys that stick for years. But, I open up lanes. One is if someone's going to be handling the tax lien, property tax delinquencies, then no one else in my organization deals with that. They got to leave that alone. It's already taken. So one of them is a guy that came in to work for us who was, making a decent living, but he was in credit card collections for 10 years. He was real good at it. And,
that's a pro right there. That's a pro.
Right, for 10 years. Okay. And then he was actually running the phone room where these credit card debt collectors would call out. Right. And he called and says, I'm ready to do something new and I've got to do something to build a future. He says, you got any place? And my partner said, well, let's try it out. He did really well on his own. And once he figured out how to sell it on his own, then he says, what I really want to do is open up a phone room. Can I open up a phone room and get people to bring more leads to me through me? And we supported him through that. We hired the Philippine VAs. Wish I'd have been a little more in tune with where you were at, but that's how I was able to do the 97, because I've got 4 people right now in lanes working, and they all have virtual assistants to do the menial things or the things they don't want to do. And we just plow through a crap load of leads every day to see which one stands out or who raises their hand and says, I'd like to talk. And I don't know. It's not really rocket science, but it's not easy either, is it?
Right. No, it's not. And I'll add to that too. I mean, you look at what your time is worth. I think all of us have to really take a step back and look at what our time is worth. Because when I have investors, even us talking on this, we're both investors, and someone comes to me and says, all right, Bob, I want to use a VA. And I say, well, why do you want to use a VA? It always comes and breaks down into two different categories. One is they want a better life balance or lifestyle. And the other one comes to, I want to make more money. And it's pretty funny. It's age changes things, right? You start looking at things different the older we get. The younger I was, I wanted to just make money. So I fell in that bucket. Now I'm a little different now, to where I got three kids.
You're preaching to the choir now, man. You're preaching to the choir.
Right. So now I want more life balance, because I know, when I wake up in the morning, my goal is, no matter what, I want to make sure I wake up with my kids. I eat breakfast with them. I have three of them. I don't eat three breakfasts, but that's right. But I want to make sure I'm with them every morning. And I know my team of virtual assistants are working on recruiting incredible VAs for our clients. And my training team is working and training those VAs to actually fulfill what our clients need. So I know that I could wake up in the morning and be able to do that. So for me, that's life balance. Later on in the day, they're working on my real estate business. They're hammering the phones. They're running comps. They're skip tracing, things like that.
Okay, so let's say I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Do you actually train? If I want to talk to you about a VA for me, do you and they've got to get into the San Antonio courthouse? Do you actually go in and help them learn how to navigate the specific courthouse I want?
Yep. Any information that you could get online, done on the computer or the phone, a virtual assistant can do. Absolutely anything.
Well, one of the things we had ours do was we made them record their moves on the computer. Like, I wanted them to document exactly what they did every day, just once. I mean, just one time. Document how you get into the courthouse, where you go to find list A, where you go to find list B, and just document it one time, so that if I ever need to replace him, or he needs to move on, or they, then I don't have to retrain them start over from zero. I've got this video of exactly what this guy was doing on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. And my VAs do different tasks on different days.
Yep.
But we check in, like, I need you to check this list every Monday. I need you to check who's new on this list every Tuesday. So every 7 days, I'm seeing who's popping up new down at the courthouse that is of interest to me.
And you're staying ahead of the game too. You're having them do this every single day, which is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Monday it's one list. So like I'm checking in every 7 days on all these lists to see who's new, because part of what separates me from the amateurs is speed. That was another one of those things that you got to have to stay in this business. You got to get there first right now. There's so much competition. You have to get there first. You have to make your presentation first and get it signed as fast as possible, because by the time this lead becomes 30 days old, everybody's going to have them.
Right. And I actually have a good one for you. So I actually started with the code violation list. An eviction list. I just started that campaign. A good buddy investor of mine out of Florida actually uses that campaign with their virtual assistant, does 99% of the work that they have to do. So it's a start to finish system process that they use their virtual assistant. So maybe that's something you could try in your business.
Absolutely. Also, there's other ones that are hard that you have to just get someone to go down to the courthouse, which is like our courthouse doesn't provide a few things. So here's a real nugget for y'all. If you're out there and listening, you're lucky today. Finding a person who filed for a writ of possession is usually not on courthouse computer records, but a writ of possession is when you have to hire a sheriff to go in and drag somebody out of a house and handcuff them to a mailbox while you empty their crap out on the street and change the locks. Now, that's not a big list, but it's a really good list because the person who has gone through that, the owner that has gone through that process, has been drugged as far through the mud as it can humanly be drugged.
Yep.
It's a good list, because by the time they get to the end of that, if they're not a pro, they don't want any more to do with a rent house or owner finance house. They just want out.
Right.
So,
and if you have that list, you get it skipped trace. Virtual assistant could do all of that for you, like you said, and they could outbound dial, engage motivation, and send it to you.
Yeah. So some more things a VA can do.
Like I said, they could do skip tracing, they could do outbound dialing, inbound dialing, running comps, Craigslist postings, social media. And one of the things that you said that was really, really important is that really resonates with me, because I went through this, and I think probably 99% of everyone listening to this has gone through this. With social media, it's just having a presence out there. A lot of us miss the conception of social media. What happens is, if you have a lender looking up my name, what they're going to first do is they're going to look on social media. They're going to say, all right, is Bob in business? If he's looking at a virtual assistant company, he's going to say, well, what does their Facebook page look like? And if you don't have posts every single day, they're going to be like, he's kind of a probably not really in business, or they start questioning whether you're really the right person or not the right person. So
it's a credibility issue. It's a credibility issue. They look at your card and then they get on the computer, you don't show up. It's a credibility issue here.
Yep. Especially for investors, right? Newer investors or seasoned investors. You spend the first day, you're all hot to trot. You learn about a new system or process, and you're 1, 2, 3, 10 days go, just like you said, and all of a sudden, I got to go. I'm going golfing today, or I'm going fishing, or I'm doing this, and then it gets easy. What's that?
It's Easter, it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving. I mean, this stuff's got to get done no matter what.
Yep, exactly.
You get sick for 7 days or whatever with this flu thing going around. So what do you say to people? I mean, one of the reasons that you use Philippines or overseas workers is the difference in the value of the dollar. It can be a tremendous value, but I would like for you to put it in perspective, because I may not have it in the right perspective.
Okay.
When I'm thinking $5 an hour for a Filipino is like a $50,000 a year job, is what I've kind of been led to think, something like that. And so for $10 an hour or less, you're picking up people that used to be, hospital floor administrators, or you're not picking up, $10 in the United States of America will get you someone that can't take your order ask me how I know. I just went there. I got so frustrated before I got here that I just said, you know what, you're not worth ordering breakfast from. I'm just got to go.
Right. I also have a used appliance company. It's kind of funny. And so my tech guys, kind of cleaners and tech guys, and they're making $12 to $13 an hour, right? Mm-hmm. Minimum wage here in Connecticut is $10.10. But I can never get them on the phones. I can never get them in my real estate company, because it's just not the level that I need. Where I could go to the Philippines, someone's college educated, I could get that, which is phenomenal, just like you said.
Yeah, Is English the only reason? I mean, I think there's some other cultural differences. I think Russia and China, you have a really good idea, they're likely to go start it themselves, or they're a little more entrepreneurial. I get the feeling that Philippines love being associated with a company that values them and that it treats them well.
So culture and family are huge in the Filipino community. It's really, really important that they have somebody. It's a very loving environment and community. So when we go there, it's just like you said. They love the community. They love being taken care of. And us as a company, we make sure that we focus on that. We have some great benefits for them as well. And when we recruit, what we do is we recruit what you just said. We recruit the top of the top. We created a advanced placement system, which is a 5-step system with recruiting and vetting, which is 1 and 2. Second step is we run a background check on them to make sure that they don't have criminal records in the background, which I think is extremely, extremely important. We also run through a 4-week intensive real estate training program. And then we also do disc profiling to make sure that, do you know much about disc profiling?
I use it myself.
Awesome. Right.
Because I don't want to, I'll tell you about my criteria in a minute. To keep going. I don't want to interrupt.
Cool. So when we walk them through the advanced placement system, every one of our VAs, before they even get to our clients, and on the end, we actually have them do scorecards in training, scorecards in recruiting, to make sure that they're the top of the top. We only allow about 5% of the applications we get in recruiting that actually get through to training. which means we sift through a lot. And the amount of applications that we run through, you'd be shocked at how many people we turn away because of things like problem solving, critical thinking. We run them through a system. First of all, we start them first through systems check to make sure they have the right system. What I mean by that is their internet connection. Do they have backup? Because if something happens, it's not like us over here, right? It's not like, hey, we're going to call Comcast to come over when we have just a little shakiness in our internet. It takes 3, 4, 5 days. If they don't have the correct backup, then the experience for the end user, which is us, is not going to be good, because if they can't get connections, then they can't be working that day, right? So it's really, really important. And we actually work it through paper screening, system check, first interview, second interview, to get things like oral proficiency, grammar, pronunciation, accent. Are they reliable? Do they have time management? Those are some of the things that we actually sift through before they, get to our training team, right? When they get to our training team, then we train them for 4 weeks on outbound dialing, running comps, building buyers lists, real estate 101, right? So when they get through to that and we do the disc profiling, then our placement team will say, all right, Mitch, what tasks do you want done? And if you say, well, I want someone on the phone, then we look at the disc profile to make sure. If they're a high, it goes D-I-S-C, if they're a high S and high C, that means they're most likely not going to be good on the phones. If they're a high D and high I, their personality will fit whatever that task is. So we marry those two together with the tasks that you want as an end user. So, and that's what I do in my business. And how I use VAs.
I'm a believer in the personality test because I was the worst hiring boss in the world. I hired people, I guess, for all the wrong reasons, and they never stayed. And when they left, half of them went into competition with me. So now I test everybody. I test them for honesty, integrity, to be money motivated, to be sincere or dedicated. Attention to detail maybe, but then I also test them to make sure that they do not manage their personal finances well, because I need them to stay broke so they can't start a business and go off on their own. And the biggest one ever, they don't have an entrepreneurial bone in their body. That's what I'm looking for. And since I started using that, I had a huge jump in my success of hiring people. And the people that it told me to hire, I was looking at them going, there's no way this guy's going to last a week. They've been with me now for 3 years. It was uncanny how I was so wrong, and this test was so much better. And I'm a believer in that for sure. So
I mean, in any business, right? The longevity of your staff or your team that stays it's gonna either make or break it. Because if you have too much turnover, I mean, that's a huge cost in any business, right?
Very demoralizing as a business owner for a lot of turnover. Very demoralizing, because you're starting over with everybody all the time, and you get tired of hearing yourself talk.
That's exactly right. And I mean, that's why we created the systems that we have in our business. Kind of funny. Literally right when we got on this call, I have a client out of Atlanta that uses one of our VAs and uses another VA, right? They just joined us about a month and a half ago, and that VA went MIA for 2 days. Right. And they're like, well, I need help now. I'm like, okay, well, we have backing. So if one of our VAs is out, we have backing to actually fulfill that role for those clients. So it's actually pretty cool.
Substitute VA for a couple of days, huh?
Yep.
You got substitute teachers, you got substitute VAs. That's interesting. I never heard that before. So here's the problem that I want to see how you're handling, and you don't have to give up all the secret sauce, because I know probably because I figured out how to solve it. But I was wondering if you guys are solving it. They don't like Filipino skip tracers. The people, the software that you're using to skip trace, they don't like overseas skip tracers. How have you figured that, how to deal with that?
We have some unique ways to do it. It's a login. There's a couple different ways that.
I don't want you to give up the sauce. I'm not asking that, but I'm saying, because I'm talking to the audience right now. If you go out there and just think you're going to get your VA to start skip tracing for you, you got another thing coming, and they may take away your software altogether once they find out. So you better get in the know about that, or you're going to lose your skip tracing
I
software.
have something interesting too for you, Mitch. I don't know if you know this, but Upwork is obviously a pretty big company, right?
Yeah.
But they don't allow their VAs to actually post on Craigslist any longer. I just heard this about a month ago. So that's another task. That's a huge task that my company uses VAs to comb through Craigslist and to post on Craigslist as well.
So what's their theory? They were just getting shut down all the time?
Yep. They were getting shut down all the time. They were getting flagged. They were getting spammed because on Craigslist, if you have an influx of VAs just spamming on Craigslist, it doesn't make Craigslist valuable anymore, right?
Yeah.
You have all this crap. So that
They're just looking for overseas IP addresses, which is really not fair because there's good, legitimate people, but there are ways around it. But you can't just be an average Joe. You got to learn about that.
Yep.
Talk about price. What are you charging for VAs? And let me preface it out there. This recording is going to be archived. It might be around for months or it might be around for years. This guy has the right to change his price, but we're talking right now. It's the end of March 2019, and this is what his price is today. Okay.
So for a full-time, for a 20-hour VA, it's $848 per month. So that's part-time VA. We do part-time and full-time. We don't do hourly basis. I know. So it's $848 and then $1,536 for a full-time VA. That's 40 hours a week. Typically, whatever hours you want them to work, you could work that out for them. But it's $848 for part-time and then $1,536 for full-time.
Okay, so one thing I was concerned about when I was hiring VAs is like, it's in the middle of the night when I need them to work. And I asked one or two of the Filipinos, is that going to be all right? And they said, don't worry about what time it is. Just tell me what time you want me to work. Mm-hmm. And I was very impressed about that. Apparently, they know that that's what it takes to work for the United States businessman is you got to work when they're open. And we're open at very strange hours for Filipinos, but they deal with it.
It's typically a 12-hour difference. So right now, whatever time it is, it's 12 hours. And sometimes whenever time change, but you look at it 12 hours. So they do work at night. So that's typically their night shift.
Yeah, and I found their attitude towards that was just really great. You ask an American to work at night, and you'd probably, I don't need this job. I'll go on. The other thing is, let's talk about. I don't know. Some people say, well, we're taking jobs from Americans, or we're using the Filipinos, taking advantage of them. I don't feel that way at all. Give me your viewpoint on it.
Here's the way I look at it. I fly to the Philippines, like I said, around 3 times a year to meet with my team. And I do know I could sleep at night knowing that we pay them really, really well. We take care of a lot of their benefits, and we offer benefits, which is incredible. So what we pay them is really, really, really good. Really good. We take great care of them. We really care about them one-on-one, whatever they need. We offer some other benefits behind the scenes. So if they need loans for certain things, we offer them loans. If they need time off, we offer them time off, paid time off, things like that as a company. So I don't feel that we here are taking jobs away because, like I said, I live in Connecticut, and literally last night, they're looking to jump the minimum wage from $10.10 to $15. Now, and they showed an actual clip with a business owner that said, it's someone who owns a cafe. They said, listen, I won't be able to have a business anymore. If I have to pay somebody that much money, I'm going to have to be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I won't be able to hire anybody, and I'm going to have to go out of business. That's
true. Most of the people I know that have VAs would not have a VA if they had to pay that price. The other thing about it is the advent of the internet and the computer and all this, it's really given countries like the Philippines a middle class. Yep. Because they're able to actually start their own businesses or create their own jobs or find jobs because of this new the new technology. And I don't know, I feel the same way. I think we're all people, and because there's just a coincidence of a price or dollar exchange difference. It makes sense, and we can use them for certain things in certain ways, and they benefit greatly too. And it's a win-win situation for the business owner and the VA community.
Yeah, and you know what, and here's the way I put it, and I give this example all the time. I did a rehab on one of my first houses that I owned, and I bought a Home Depot door in the back of the house, right? It was a French door, and every summer I would yell at that door. Every winter, so I'm in the winter, it's cold up here, so literally the heat is flying out the door. I was trying to save money, right? I tried to save like $800, literally $800. So I think the door was about $100, and every single, I would lose my energy bill went through the friggin' roof, and I would snap on that door and that's the time I actually looked at the door and I said, you know what, price or value, what do you want, right? You get what you pay for. Like that's really that's a takeaway there. And I really think, you know, if we as a society are only going to shop for price, you know, you're not going to get value, right? Everything in this world, that's why you have luxury stuff and stuff that breaks apart.
Yep, I agree. So I want you to go to reinvestorsummit.com/VA help and get the top 100 things a VA can do. Get your list and apply it to your strategy or your business and see just how eye-opening that is. It's a lot of tasks that you might not think of right off the bat. Also, when you go to reinvestorsummit.com/VA help, you're going to get a link and all the contact information you need to hook up with Bob Lachance and his company. And he'll, you know, if you're serious about considering a VA, call up and get a hold of them and just, you know, find out if it's for you or not. I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, you're going to find out that it makes no sense not to do it, because there's bound to be things that you can be having done on a consistent basis in a timely fashion, and probably better than you're going to do it, because you're not going to do it very long. So it makes sense. I have 6 VAs right now, and they stay busy every day, and God bless them. I'm so glad I have them, because that the jobs that maybe I think are menial are very important to them. That's their living. They wake up every morning, and they're focused on it, and they're getting it done 100 times better than I'm going to get it done, because to me, it's not the biggest thing on my plate. You know what I mean? To them, yep. It's the point of getting up in the morning and going to the job, you know? So it's
and Mitch, I want to add something to that too, because I think it's important for us as investors. We have to be focusing on money generating activities, right? So it's not sitting on the phones, it's not running comps, it's not skip tracing, it's meeting with sellers, right? It's our VA set appointments for us. It's meeting those sellers. It's meeting private money lenders. It's meeting hard money lenders. It's meeting agents, attorneys, brokers, etc. You know the old saying, our network is our net worth, or our network creates our net worth, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's really, really important. I just had you got 2 seconds for a funny story?
No, kid, come on, we got plenty of time.
This is actually funny. So last night, my son buys these sneakers. He gets sold into buying these sneakers, $220 sneakers, right? Wow. And but he knows there's a market out there to sell them for $300. I'm like, okay, he's 15. He's thinking entrepreneur. I'm like, all right, perfect. All of a sudden, you can't find a buyer at the beginning. You post them to a couple of sites he knows. You can't sell them. 2 months goes by, and he's still trying to sell them. So his buddy, James, has a site that he knows he could sell them at. So now he works out a deal with him to where he'll give him $20 and sold them for $300. And so last night he talks to me. He's like, Dad, you know what? I sold those things. I made $30 because obviously the company takes little. And I said, Bobby, tell me a little bit about what you learned, right? So his name is Bobby. So I told him a little bit about network, right? So now, because he's at a private school, and now you teach him these little things. And it's funny because you equate that to, us, and I look at that in business and owning a virtual assistant company in my own business. It's the same thing, right? Our network should be spent going to masterminds, meeting with, individuals that could help grow your business, not doing those tasks that just drain you. So it's kind of funny takeaway, a little story that I wanted to add in there.
Yeah. In the real estate investing arena, usually when you first start out, there's some commonalities that I've noticed over the years. Most of the time, the newbie's broke, Second of all, they're wearing every single hat. They don't have any money to pay anybody. And so some of the first hats you can take off, the easiest things to delegate are, number one is bookkeeping. Number two is collections. Okay, those are real easy. There's always someone out there. If you don't have a lot of collections, your bill will be small. And if you don't have a lot of books, so you're not running a lot of business, so your bill's going to be real small. The other thing is, the next thing is a VA. Probably one of the first things, in my humble opinion, that a new person should hire is a leads manager. Someone to manage all the leads that you're going out there and finding. They didn't say yes right off the bat. They weren't what we call a lay down. I mean, they didn't just, we didn't run right over and get a contract, but they're going to sell their house to somebody in the next 6 months or 8 months or 10 months. And I got to stick with them. And I think if you're going to go generate those leads and then just let them roll over into the trash, I think you're making a huge mistake. I think the first VAs that you hire is at least to manage your leads, stay up with them, keep touching them, and then you always find other things for them to do, especially if you get a free list of 100+ things for your VA to do.
Right. And, it does take, on average, right, industry standards about 7 touches before you actually get a deal. So that's you're 100% right on. So the leads managers, they're responsible for following up on all those leads because, if you call me today, my motivation will probably, if you call me and ask if I'm looking to sell my house today, my motivation definitely will probably be different in 6-7 months, like you just said.
Yeah, we're waiting till their circumstances close in, or they come to the realization that their house is not worth $1 million.
Well, did you ever deal with that one before?
Yeah, I have a lot of those people right now. They think their house is worth $1 million. I'm offering them $35,000. Well, we got a little ways to go. You got
to close that gap over 7 months. I love it.
Yeah, mine's going to take 700 touches, but anyway. Hey, so Bob, thanks a lot for taking the time. Did I miss anything, or is there anything that you want to talk to our audience about before we go? I just wanted to let them know that there's some real help out there. If you're looking for a VA and you don't know what to do, or you just don't want to deal with all the things that it takes to really find a good VA, you got some professional help here. How long have you been doing it? Since when?
Since 2014.
Okay. All right. And sounds like you have a great company. I'm looking forward to hearing some feedback from some people that get some VAs from you.
Yeah, and if anyone needs any, like I said, just go to your link. If you have any questions on any of that, our staff is incredible. Our team is absolutely incredible to answer any kind of questions that you have. And Mitch, I want to thank you for having me, obviously, on your podcast. A lot of fun. I love your podcast. It's one of the best. It's one of the best. So I appreciate it.
Thanks. So go to REInvestorSummit.com/VA help and get over there, the show notes, and it'll be all the information you need to be able to talk to Bob or his company, and they'll treat you well. Now, right before I go, don't forget, check out taxfreefuture.com. You will not believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. If you don't have a tax-deferred or tax-free environment in which to grow your retirement funds or just grow your wealth, then you're missing out on a huge opportunity. Please check it out. There's over 37 videos over there. They're short, sweet, and to the point, and you will learn a lot from them. I did. I interviewed a guy that was 24 years as an IRS attorney who specialized in retirement plans and how not to mess them up and how to undo the messes if you happen to do some prohibitive transactions or something. So that's what he does for 24 years, and that's who I was talking to in those videos. Taxfreefuture.com. All right, Bob, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.